Hello! Hello and welcome. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. I'd like to say more for now, but I think I have a stream stability problem, and it may just be OBS. So if you will bear with me for a brief moment, I will restart OBS, and I will be here back in a few seconds. See, told you I'd be back. Hopefully, this will solve the instability problem. I was trying to solve this behind the screen, but I couldn't. So we'll just see. Sometimes it's a stupid thing. Sometimes it's not. Alright. Let's restart the program. Done. Oh, yeah, no. I have to see the bottom. Okay. Oops, too much. And what does it look like? It does look like it's more stable than it was a few moments ago. Alright. Well, that's a good thing. Alright, so, what was I saying? Drakenmemoria. Yay! What is Drakenmemoria, you may ask? Well, today, it's map making. Let's load the map. I restarted everything, so that's why we don't have a whole lot right now. Alright. Yeah, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, map making today. For me, map making is usually about Dungeons and Dragons, but for you it may be for something else, so... Hey, I think the microphone's good for today. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so whatever it is for you, map making for your own favorite tabletop RPG, for Dungeons and Dragons, for a short story, novel, just for relaxing, because anything that can be considered artistic can be relaxing. So whatever it is for you, hope it's a nice whatever it is. But for me, oh goodness. See, we can't start without a good yawn. Well, it's probably going to be related to Dungeons and Dragons. Let's be honest. Alright. And I know, I haven't been posting the recorded version of these on YouTube. It's because I've been trying to edit, and I've learned that I'm not that good at editing. No, that's not that I'm not good. Well, maybe I'm not good, but that's not the reason why. It's that I'm not fast. Trying to condense the video just a little bit, remove any moments of any long moments where I'm not talking or things like this. It hasn't been easy. Wow. Sorry. Yes, I am exhausted also. That is not helping at all. And I think I've been asking a little bit too much of myself recently. Trying to do too many things all at once. It's not helping me. So, I know for some people, doing a lot of things all at once is the way they thrive. It's it's their best self when they're under pressure and they absolutely need to finish something for tomorrow and there's barely enough time left and let's go, let's go, let's go. But I'm not someone like this. I always do my best to try and finish something as best as I can. So when pressure gets added, at best, sorry, at best it just keeps me focused, but nothing else. No, not even. It keeps me awake when I should probably go to sleep. But at worst, it slows me down because I know I have to go faster and I'm not, so I'm starting to stress myself and I check myself twice and suddenly everything takes twice the amount of time and everything falls apart like this. Yep. Alright. I got a feeling it's going to be one of those evenings where I just keep shoving liquid into myself so that I stay alert. So where were we last episode? Oh yeah, last stream. Shouldn't say last episode for this. We finished Size of Villages. So that's a town. That's not a village. Oh yeah, that's right. We lost elements. Yeah. I've been desaturating the castle. I'm almost done. It's going along much better than with the cliffs. I would have been done today, but maybe you've heard there's been a lot of snow where I'm living. So shoveling has been taking a large portion of my days for the past 3 days. And apparently my body is tired because I keep falling asleep the moment that I sit down for a short moment to just breathe. I sit down, I close my eyes, and then I wake up 4 hours later. Okay. So, I could extend the coast just a little bit here. Oh, I should probably just, because I keep hearing the music. Well, yeah, ambiance music. Or maybe not completely close it, just enough so that I can still hear if there's sputtering in the microphone. Alright. Come on. Alright, let's go. I don't know. Maybe not as rough because there's the mountain. Alright, there you go. Maybe the brush size is a bit too large. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah, alright, just enough to brush on the edges. I mean, sorry. Oh. Alright, here we go. No, you have to add. Alright. I don't like it. No, redo. Here we go. How about normal 1? Can you hear that? I think someone's listening to television. The sound must be awful. Really strong, if we can hear it. No, the other way around. Alright, maybe the brush is just a little too big, because I don't want to have too much, just enough so that it covers. Because it feels slightly weird if the mountain just drop into the ocean. I know that this is how it's supposed to be, but image-wise, I don't know. It sticks weirdly in my mind. Hey, anyone part of the live campaign? On Wednesdays? I was just wondering if anyone was watching. I was wondering about what you thought of what is happening inside of the campaign right now. Too big. You need precision here. Yeah, okay, that's better. That's better. We don't need something here, but I would enjoy something here. Okay. Maybe not as, yeah, just a little softer. Like this. Yeah. Okay. I'll probably just redraw over some of the parts. Get it just right. Because it's important when you're making something, no matter what it is, that you feel like you've done a good job. Because no matter what happens, someone's going to tell you that you didn't do a good job. Why? Because someone has higher standard than yours, and for them, the fact that this, and this happen is a sign of you not trying hard enough. Or just because someone's jealous of what you've done, so they're gonna criticize it. Or just someone because someone is overly critical about everything all the time. So you gotta do it until you feel like you've done a good job. And you gotta be honest with yourself, of course. Because if you just say that because, I don't know, you don't want to keep working at it, or maybe because you just got an inflated ego. You gotta be careful about that. Then, yeah, it's not the same thing. Okay. Well, I think this is working. Yeah, I think this is working. Okay. Yeah. You're watching the live campaign, the indie campaign that I have on Wednesday, or the rebroadcast on Friday. They've been getting themselves into trouble. But yeah, if you've been watching and you're wondering what was the object, I think it was a glove version of a belt of giant strength, but I'm not sure. I can't find the object. Well, no, not the object. The note on the fight, because I'm sure that I wrote down what object they had. Oh, maybe. Oh, that's it. That's all right. Save. I just thought of something. Maybe I was just looking at the wrong place for the information. Cultist. Scout. Here we go. I was just looking at the wrong thing. Well, look at that. Got the information here. Nice. They were bracers of defense. Here it is. Simple as that. Simple as that. It's amazing what happens. It's amazing what happens when you pay attention. Or, well, maybe not. But that you let your mind find the answer. Because that's essentially what just happened. my mind kept working on it, and bam, it got the answer. Alright, I think this works. I think this works. I don't know, working on terrain like this makes me want to play Kingdom, the pixel art game. Don't mind you. I wouldn't mind playing Kingdom Deliverance. I haven't played. And I know it's been accompanied by some controversy. But there's one thing about it that I am curious. It's the combat system, because I am a practitioner of HEMA. So. And I recognize in the first one, one of the cinematic, I recognize an arm pass that you do with the German treaties, where you have your sword above your head and you just strike with the edge, twist it like a helicopter, and strike again on the with the false edge, and then once again helicopter on the other side, strike with the true edge. I've been wondering how good the system is ever since, but you know, I barely have enough time to create maps right now, so imagine playing anything. I think I haven't played any games for a month and a half. I've just been working on these things. Alright, so that's the coast. I think that works. Yeah, it works. Okay. Now, it's peninsula. So these aren't tall mountains. And it's not huge landmass. It's let's face it, when it rains, it probably just covers everything. So it's not on a scale, I think, where I should be worried that the mountain catch the clouds and doesn't go over. So, if that is a day of travel, $10 is a mile. Forests are going to have a different scale. Let's try and see what those nice trees will look like. Really? Oh damn. I'm used to working on a different scale. Okay. okay. Now, we want to have forests, but not giant forests. I think we need forest. Oh yeah. Just a little too big. Still a little too big. Maybe another 5. Yeah, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then slightly smaller tree and even smaller ones. All right. Let's put in some vegetation. Now we're gonna have to find a middle in all of this. That's gonna help us. But trees, but not oversaturate everything. So we want some forests, but not necessarily huge ones. I think we need one big forest. Yeah, okay, yeah, we need one big forest, but not necessarily. Oh, that's interesting. So, if someone wants to travel all the way through the peninsula, we want them to have to travel maybe a bit indirectly. So, one of the paths through the mountains won't be. I feel like this is the one that should probably be without too many trees. It literally creates a pass between the mountain and maybe a small valley if you I mean it would be a wide pass, but could be just a pass. I mean, if you look at the art, sorry, my skin is acting up again. I don't know why it's always just here. Anyways, it's about a mile wide, if not mistaken. 10 dot for a mile, is that it? But 6.5. Oh, good lord. One, two, 3, 4, 5, 7. It's not even a mile wide. Okay. Okay. My personal information. How many feet in a mile? Conversion feet miles. 5,280. Let's write that down. 5,280 feet for a mile. So, a tenth of a mile is 528 feet. $528 multiplied by 7. 500 by 6. That's 3,000. Right. Around 4,000 miles, 4,000 feet. Interesting. Still a lot. But when you're on top of the mountain, you can probably see the other side. Alright, I think that's what I want. That if you're standing, if you are standing on this side, you can see the other side. I think I like that. Ooh, Chinese. Marketplace. Okay. Okay. Well, it is interesting. It is interesting. So, this means that we have a forest here. Let's start with that. Let's start with that. Should probably save. Save. Okay. And this. Okay. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I know. Building forest is always a bit more silent than the rest. Because all I'm doing is just shoving trees by hand on the map. I know I could probably figure a way to have the exact balance of tree and space using the default tool. But I think it wouldn't be the same. Peninsula, the trees. think they're called ash trees. That's 100. And custom trees are do I still have it? 65, 70, 75. 75 to 65. Alright, that way we won't have to guess in the future. I'll make the forest just a little bit long on each side, so that anyone that wants to travel will need to make a detour. Yeah, I'm intentionally making a small pocket here because I think I want to make a swamp. Oh, on that side it would more be a bog, I think. Alright. Well, it's going to extend outward. Yeah, sure. Trees, trees, always more trees. So much vegetation, so much vegetation. Okay. This bigger one. Now, because of the scale, I'm not going to try and cover most of the map with trees. And we're near the ocean. So there's bound to be a lot of winds, which I think would disperse the seeds of the trees in the ocean. In the ocean. A lot of small trees here. Let's refresh that. Okay, okay, okay. The thunderstorm from the pre-stream is still playing in my ears. I like thunderstorm. Oh, right now, I'd like to have more winter howling winds. The type of winds that you get in a blizzard. Finally, we got a little bit of snow here. The average was 2 feet. I measured it exactly 24 inch. For me, that's the minimum. If you want to stop hearing me complain, that there isn't enough snow right now. The minimum, the bare minimum for me to be happy is, well, happy, content. Content? Well, no, not even. Just to stop complaining that it's not winter enough. You gotta have 2 feet of snow. It's bare minimum. If we can reach 3 feet, oh, that's better. Three and a half feet. That's amazing. And of course, you gotta have a glacial temperature outside. Conversion. For me, minus. Alright, so in Celsius it's minus 20, but in the United States, for those using Fahrenheit, it's minus 4. For me, that's the bare minimum. I know that nowadays, Canada, where I live, a lot of winters have become a lot milder, and we don't get those big, heavy, strong winters that we used to have. Hey, hello! You're just in time to hear me talk to myself about winter. How have you been? Patrician season? Really? Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna argue with your feeling about the season. Everyone is entitled to having their own feeling about what the season is. As for me, I love winter. It's the season in which I am the most comfortable. While I was growing up, everyone kept telling me, oh, you'll see, you'll see. You love winter now because you're a kid. When you're going to be an adult and you're going to have to shovel that snow, you're going to stop loving winter. That never happened. I was born in winter. I was born in a blizzard. My parents told me the story so many times. They went to the hospital, and when my father went outside to decompress a little bit, because, you know, the doctors managed to anger my mother. So when he left to go outside, we were in the middle of a blizzard. A real blizzard. The kind of blizzard where you can't see on the other side of the street. The wind is howling, and the snow is just falling and falling and falling. Well, I guess in D&D it would make sense for me to be a sorcerer. Probably a storm sorcerer, but with a small modification, so that instead of just being wet storms, it would include cold storms, winter, the snow, the cold. What about you? What season were you born? Don't need to tell me the date, just the season. Fall. Okay. Interesting elements in fall. Really? It's common to like fall? I didn't know. I thought most people like either spring or summer. Most season. The pumpkin spice. Yeah, no, I can't argue with the fact that there's a lot of colors in fall. Can't argue with that. And to be honest, each season that has either an equinox or a solstice celebration, they're usually the best celebration. So, Halloween, Easter, and Christmas. Because essentially, before becoming religious events, they were solstice and equinox celebration. Each one having their own unique elements. Fall temperature, it's a bit similar to spring, but I also like fall a bit better than spring because we're going toward the cold. So instead of going from heavy coat to lighter coat, you go from lighter coat to heavier coat, which I like. And then extremely resilient. Resilient? No, resistant. I'm not sure. It's really hard for me to feel cold. I have a body that is really, really, really well made for cold temperature. So throughout fall, the weather is easy. It's just a small jacket. Like small jackets. A lot of pockets. You don't need to have something like a small bag or anything. You can just have everything in pockets. That's fun. And of course, where I'm living, there's, well, because of climate change, because the colors and leaves depends on both illumination, and is a balance between light during the day and the cold temperature. So now it lasts a little, not as long because temperature is changing too rapidly. But in ideal conditions, we have amazing spectacle of colors for a few weeks, especially if you move away from cities where you have large spaces with a lot of trees. It's an amazing spectacle to watch, all of the different colors and I like the rain. And in transition seasons, spring and fall, there was a lot more rain. So that's something that I enjoy. Yeah. I can see the appeal of fall. Spring is the celebration of life. You have to admit, few season smells as interesting as spring when the first flowers starts blooming, especially fruit trees. Cozy Witch Tabletop RPG? Oh, not sure I know this one. Does it have a name, or is the name Cozy Witch? Oh, okay. Ah, okay, the working title. Is there going to be a little bit of magic in it? Hope so. With a working title like the one you just opened. It's gotta be magic. Come on. Witchcraft. But a good kind. Ah. That's good. There needs to be pumpkin people. Because you can't have fall witches without pumpkin people. You know, sort of a scarecrow, but with a pumpkin head. Good or bad? But that's just a preference. Okay. Thinking about seasons and against it. What didn't you like with the idea of seasons? Ah, keeping track of time. I admit. You'd have to think about something easy. Well, it depends on the type of gameplay. But if it moves in turns, that's probably a bit easier because you can simply say that a turn of development is a quarter of a season. But if it's more of a D&D RPG where you can easily move forward a few weeks if you're waiting for something to grow or something to be ready, and players just waiting, yeah, that can be a bit harder to follow. Maybe no, maybe it's just a bigger one. Yeah, that works. Okay, I think I want to make the forest that spills from both sides and nearly to the edge. So no matter which side you decide to move, if you want to go through the peninsula, you'll need to take a detour to not go inside the forest. Oh, of course. You'll need a forest in your game. Forest and fall can be spooky. What type of quests? Uh-oh. So some ground rule for it were no combat, no travel. Decent mechanical depth, okay. And something that doesn't play like a board game. Yeah, okay. When you say no combat, do you mean no conflict or no I hit, I dodge, and I have hit point system? Okay. Okay. So there can be conflict. It's just not focused on how it's going to work. It's more of a I decide to solve the problem using a sword. I make a roll. Combat went well for me. Combat did not go well for me. That's sort of a no, that's okay. Combat doesn't have to be the focus of a game. It's perfectly fine. I'm really just more asking questions because of personal curiosity. So No, no, absolutely, absolutely. So essentially, solving a problem is more of a skill check. So if you have a puzzle in front of you, you might have to roll for deduction ability. If you have a monster, you roll combat ability. If you crafting roll. Oh, interesting. There can be some interesting mix with magical crafting, like scrolls. Is somewhat complex because crafting is a focus, okay? But let's say you wanted to cure the mayor of disease, okay? That would be a tire to craft. Okay, okay. I imagine that with the concept of tire means complexity of the spell that you're crafting. No, not too many pine trees. Tier, okay. Oh yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was pronouncing it. I was reading it in French and translating in English. That's where the odd sounding of this came from. So is your magical system okay? So there would be 4 components that could make it. I, as the DM, roll them up to determine what they are. 2 are main, 2 are lesser, and you have to research roll to determine the components. Okay. Is your system built enough to give me an example of what would be a tier 1 magical craft? Go gather the ingredients, make some crafting check, and then apply the cure. Okay. Are you far enough in the the development of your game to give me an example of what would be a tier 1 spellcrafting and tier 2, tier 3, or tier 4 spellcrafting? Oh yeah, I like the idea of making a hook here. Okay. Okay. I understand. So, crafting, okay. So, radar that detect life form would be tier 2. A sword that slays dragon would be tier 5. It goes to tier 6, okay. I think I like the forest like this. Maybe a pine tree instead. It's a D6. Okay. So... okay. So tier 1 is very cosmetic. Nothing that has huge implication. So someone in town could ask you for a pincushion because their cousin made fun of them and now they want to get revenge. So they're tailor, so they want to give them a pincushion that insult them each time they put a pin inside of the cushion. That could be tier 1. Okay. Okay, I understand how it works. Tag system for component when multiple players are involved. Okay. And how would someone figure out the level of complexity they need for their craft? More pine trees. That's a good point. Save. Told to them by the Game Master. Alright, they decide what they want. The Game Master gives them a turn, a drawback, and roll up the component needed. Okay, okay. So now you're working on the component list, sort of figuring out what type of component could be a component of higher tier or lower tier. Okay, okay. So your example of 2 major and 2 minor would be what tier? Okay, okay. Okay. Three tags: rarity, type, and medium? What do you mean by medium? Okay. I kind of like. Oh yeah, no. Magical element, gem, crystal orbs. Okay, okay. So what's the difference between medium and type? Ah, yes, we could pay something here. Ah, okay, okay. Okay, okay. Component that don't necessarily store. Well. Expensive, costs money to acquire. Yeah, okay, okay. So probably because they aren't normally found in the region or something like this. So you gotta acquire them by paying for them. Okay, that's a nice place here. Okay. Well, we got something interesting with that forest. I feel like I need to add more forest. Oh, goodness. Another message for cheap viewers. Suspected concerning. Here we go. So for component, the GM. So as a game master, to generate a component, I roll a d6 for rarity. 1, 2, 3. For 5 is common. 6 is rare. Then I roll for type. Okay. Okay. Can't be large forest everywhere. Gonna have... I mean, there needs to be a forest here. Alright, the opposite of here. Oh, that's an interesting one. Let's roll 2d6 right now, and then I roll for a medium, so let's say herbs. So I'll roll 2d6. Got a common volatile herb, so I would call that quick marjoram. Okay. I like the idea of inversing this. So here I wanted to make a valley that's full of trees. Here, valley without trees, but we're gonna make it a point on each side. So that you enter, and then 3 stops, you go through this little valley, and then you exit, and you have your trees again. So I would call it, if it were uncommon, moon touch, quick margin. Oh yeah, okay. So normal component would probably be components that sort of mirrors a little bit things you can find here and now. And then a property, if it starts becoming more interesting, like you said, like moon touched. Okay. I want a point. So the player wants to find out if they have concussion, their herb stores. They check their volatile herb store and have to roll these. Is high at 3, so they would roll. Okay. Did you decide against the player having to create their own inventory? So, for example, them having to gather some ingredient, but keep them in reserve and store? Okay. And it'll spill over on each side. This. And same thing would happen on the other side. Okay. And they gather, they just increase the number at the store. Is that, oh, okay. Okay. So instead of hunting for specific, they'd hunt for a type or a rarity, and depending on what they find, it increases the availability in their store. Okay, okay. Okay. Let's refresh our stock of trees. No, I said up. And increase it one more. So how would those numbers work? So you got your player. You tell them that that there is an odd illness spreading to the village. They need to find a cure. So you roll. Well, how would it go from there? You've decided that it's... Alright, hold on. Maybe I missed something. Trying to do two things at once. Okay, so the player wants to find out if they have quick version in their store. If it were uncommon. Okay. Okay, so that tells you how much component they may need to find. Ah, okay. So the tier of what you're looking for is slightly subjective. It can increase or decrease depending on how much knowledge they have of exactly what's going on. And what happened when if they decide to investigate? Tell me how they're investigating. Okay, so it's a game that has a little bit of narrative description. Okay. No, I want this tree here. Yeah, okay. Too many small trees in here. Okay. And would there be a roll involved to see the kind of success that this endeavor has, or is it something that you decide? Sorry. Okay. Okay. So, different ways of doing this. I would imagine that there's an incentive for both type of investigation. One has more chance of yielding result, but it's longer, and there's the penalty of having less time during the day to do anything. And the other one can be quicker, but there's chance involved. No, tree. Pine tree here. Whatever makes sense. Yeah, no, I'm saying this because it's a classic choice. Do you want to go with something that you know will give you result, but it takes longer, so there's a chance of failing because you take too long, or do you want to take a chance, have something quickly, but there's a chance of failure or a greater chance of failure? It's a classic way. It's a classic choice. Okay, now the player has made an investigation and information has been gained. So what happened after that? Smaller tree, smaller tree, smaller tree. They determine it's mostly infecting merfolk, so they come up with a cure. See for merfolk. Okay. Let's say it's your tree craft. Okay, well, yeah, sure. So now you'd roll for what they need, if I understand correctly what you said earlier. Now that you've determined what tier it is, you roll to figure out what they need to do. Okay. Man, I'm burning through my trees. So keep them secret. Okay. So if you keep them a secret, they have to make a research roll. Okay. One for the entire thing, or one for each component? Okay. I'm starting to be a bit tight here. For every research roll player makes, every 4 or 5 your roll is random component revealed, and 6 is a random component reveal along with type. Main or lesser. Okay. So, how many research roll do they have? Or is it something like it takes a certain amount of time to do a research roll? So if you take too long, you might fail this quest, but if you don't make enough rolls, it's going to be too hard to figure out. Something like this. Or like I said, is it something that they can make a certain amount of rolls due to a stat, like their intelligence? It takes time to do research. If you apply 3 dice to it, you're spending 3 dice worth of time. Okay. Okay, and once they found their balance, what happened if some component haven't been found? Is it an immediate failure, or is it just that it's going to be harder to create the cure? You'll need 3 out of the 6 components to create a cure. Okay. So there's... Okay, so there's a success constraint and a time constraint. They have a certain amount of dice that they can spend on research. And with all of that, they... Alright, so there's a choice there. They can decide to only spend 2 dice on one research, giving them less chance to find the solution, but it gives them more time to make different search, so getting different results. So if they spend too many dice on one research, it's going to be difficult finding the other answers. Yeah, okay. Okay. So what was your original idea for what they're researching? Instead, they discover a random component whenever they get a more publicity. Good lord. Okay. Random component. Okay, hold on. just want to make sure that I understand everything you're writing. Fair research roll they make. Okay. Okay. So what would be the incentive of using more or less dice for research other than time? Why wouldn't they just spend a huge bunch of dice at the same time? I think I want to place a little something here, a village or something like that. Anyway, if you walk, you have this, and oh, there's something here. I think that's going to be nice. Success they got. 4, 4, and 6. And let's say I rolled 1, 3, and 3. I would reveal herb number 1. Number 3. And the herb number 3 is a main component. Because they rolled more than once. Because you roll. Okay. Okay, so in short, the amount of dice that you have for research represent the amount of time you're willing to invest in your research. I imagine that if they take too long, they fail because too many people get sick or everyone dies in the village because they took too long. All right, so time is a resource. The more time they invest in researching, the more chance they have to find all that. Time is always your enemy in this game. Okay, that's important to know. There are a bunch of tracks that are always decreasing each day. Okay. So that's the incentive of using more or less. You can sacrifice a little bit of time, more or less time, depending on what happened. All right, okay. I can't read a number. 85, all right. 7. Hold on, I'm going to cut the microphone just so that I can pour myself something to drink. All right, so the research, let's say 3 components, yeah, and 2 of these are main and 1 of them is a lesser. All right, so now they have the minimum amount of knowledge that they need to figure a cure. I imagine it's sort of the more component they figured out, the lower the difficulty level to create the cure will be. 3 being the minimum and 6 being something with lesser difficulty to make. If you find all 6, you have more opportunities to find the herb. Ah, okay. Okay, so yeah, it's yes and no from what I said. It's not how I said it, but it works sort of the same. Because if you figure out all of the components, you have more chances to have enough component to finish it. So if you find more because you're lucky, it's gonna take less time to create the cure on the next step. Or rather, you have more chances. And so it may take. Okay. So now you have the component, and now you gotta make the cure. I imagine it's also a skill check, which again involves time. Oh, I'm letting you explain this. So now you figured out between a minimum of 3 or more component. Then what's the next step? Okay. Now you're trying to make the cure. So again, you're rolling your. Okay. Now you figured them out. Now you gotta go collect them. So again, you're paying time dice to do this, I imagine. Okay. All right. And the difficulty of collecting them would be based on how many you have in store. The more you have, the easier it is to collect them. Okay. So an interesting incentive to have reserve. So for one research, if you have time, then take a little bit more time to gather a component, which may allow you to have an easier time for the next one. Okay. Okay, now you have all of your components. Now applying the cure. So again, you use your time dice, and success is determined by skill, or sorry, I'm jumping ahead. Keep explaining on keep explaining it at your speed. number to succeed equal the number of lesser component you use in the crafting. Okay. Number of lesser component you used. After that, you need a number of success equal to the number. Okay. With all main component, it automatically works. It's risk. Okay. So again, there's a strategic decision. If you use all your major component, you may have a guaranteed success for this one, but you're going to be using part of your store of component, which may make making another cure for another time more difficult. Or you can risk it, sparing your major component and giving you a better chance for something else, but taking the risk for this one because you're using more or lesser component. Okay. And if you manage to complete all of these steps, and you either have exactly 0 dice or one, or at least 1 dice of time left, it's a success. Different tree. Okay, it spills like this. Oh, then I gotta put a few more on the top. Gotta put left that are sick. It's your... Oh, there's a twist. So again, an incentive to not necessarily just burn through all of your time dices, because if there's a twist like this at the end, you want to have at least a little reserve of time to be able to cure your good buddy Alfonso. I have to refresh the numbers of trees. If you're feeling generous. Well, that's the privilege of the Dungeon Master. Oops, no, that's larger trees. No, that's... Ah, come on. It's an interesting game. You got a good system figured out. It's got bones. Yeah. Well, if nothing else, what you just did right now is a theoretical test. But yeah, you'll probably need a group to test it out. Unless you want to just make this a one, well, two person, because there's a dungeon master. But yeah, you're probably going to have to test it with a group of people. I'd suggest friends. No, different type of tree. What other aspects would you like to include in this? So the main aspect, crafting, but what other things would you like to put in? Bonds and self-care. Okay. Self-care as in you're tiring yourself because you're researching non-stop for the cure, and so you're slowly getting tired, so you're gonna have to spend time dice to recover a bit. Something like that, self-care? Or you inadvertently infected yourself, so now you gotta. Okay. Yeah, those can be brushed in the category of twists. You know, there are twists at each step. Self care can easily become a twist while you're researching and gathering, because you are interacting with the sick people, with the nature spirit that it's affecting everyone. Um, you're spending time searching outside. You could get sick because you spend too much time searching in the cold. You know, small twists. Maybe a small tree here. Yeah. Okay. think it's a nice forest here, but I want to reach all the way. So just smaller trees like this, and like this, and like this. All right. So that's one side. Now let's do the other side, because that's the image that I want to give. You're going to arrive here, you're going to walk down, you're going to enter this valley, and there you go. You're going to be able to see on each side, there could be a trail. I don't know, I just feel cinematic walking between those two mountains. No, I changed category. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Okay. Ooh, sorry. Ooh, that was part of my dinner that came back up. Well, no, just the smell, not pieces of it. Okay. What did I ask you? What did I eat, you may ask? A rarity. For some, not, but for me it is. It was tacos. I've been meaning to try the softer shell tacos. Don't know if they work well. I have to try them at one point. No. Small ones and small trees. Small trees. This works here, and this works here. Yeah. Okay, so that's the point here. Now we gotta expand. I feel like it's probably gonna expand deeper into this here. Fine. So yeah, for those of you who might have been watching, you just heard Bobicus talk about a game he's planning to make. Who knows? Maybe in a few years you may be able to buy his game in a game shop somewhere. Hey, hello! I was making free promotion for you. In case someone watched this, other than you. I was telling people that they should expect your game in a few years. You know, maybe, who knows, maybe you'll be able to start selling your game at one point in a game shop, and 3 years from now, your name will be on the back of a box that someone can buy. Or a rule book, and you may walk into a game shop and see 5 people playing your game. You never know. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Here, smaller trees. Okay. Good collection. Time to revitalize that. One thing that could be nice for graphic reason, if you can find someone that will print you customized dices, customized D6 dice. You know, when you're rolling for the research, I don't know, instead of the 6, could be a leaf. Who knows? When you've playtested your game, are you planning on just trying to release it, or maybe we can expect this to eventually become a Kickstarter, or whatever equivalent there will be at that time? Too early. Okay, okay. Well, who knows? Maybe it will be. It's always nice to think about it. Gotta make it first. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. But I think you got a good basis. You know where you want to go. You know what you want and what you don't want. And you got a clear concept of how you might get there. Things may change as you're developing it, but you got all the making of a good game. So keep at it. Who knows? Maybe one of my map will be one of your map at one point. Now, wouldn't that be weird? Want a different tree here. Okay. So now the question is, what is the timetable of your game? Will it be ready by 2027? I'm gonna do the crafting system and marry it to the self-care bond and obligation system. And then I'm gonna run into a roadblock and take this for a while. Yeah, it could absolutely, this could absolutely happen. And then who knows? Hey, you never know. Remember that Stardew Valley took years to make, and it became one of the most popular games to ever appear on Steam. You never know what you have. Maybe you'll have an evolution similar to that. You're gonna make the first version, you're not gonna like it, you're gonna redo it, you're gonna find a new artist to make a book to explain everything, and then you're gonna take a break because, I don't know, you suddenly bought a house and you gotta make a little bit of money to make sure you don't lose it, and then you're gonna come back to it, and one day, 10 years from now, you're gonna wake up in the morning, you're gonna look at your email, and you're gonna realize that, good heavens, the final version of your game has just been released. And look at that. It's popular enough that you can, I don't know, make a college fund for your kids because it's going to have been 10 years and now you're going to have kids. Who knows? It's good to not drown in hopes, but without hope, many people would never have any direction, and direction can create beautiful things. That's all right. Anyways, the stream finishes in roughly 8 minutes, so you're not gonna miss a lot. Well, hope that sharing all of this has helped you in some way. I don't know. Maybe there were some elements that you weren't completely sure of, that listening to my reaction has helped you to either confirm that it is a good idea or maybe that you should revisit that element. If not, well, you talked about it. Who knows what will happen after that? Maybe someone will watch the stream and contact you and say, I'm interested in helping you. Who knows? but if you gotta go, then you gotta go. And so I will wish you a good night. Or day, or whatever part of the day it is, wherever you are in the world. All right. Let's try and do as much of that forest as we want. So those are going to be the major forests. There are going to be a few smaller ones. There's probably going to be at least one forest on this island. And I feel like probably another one in the lower part here. Not a big forest down there. Okay, we got something interesting. It's gonna work, it's gonna work. Save. I know I just saved, but I mean, it's rare that you find someone that's oh, I should have saved less when making anything. Now, if you're hunting for achievement in a game, well, yeah. But if you're just trying to make something, unless you're working with a space constraint, save as many time as you need. There's nothing more frustrating than finding that you crashed and you haven't saved. You want to kill something. Hopefully just pixels, but you still want to kill something. You know what you can do when it happens? Blame it on the dinosaurs. They're not there to defend themselves anymore. It's always okay to blame it on the dinosaurs. Or better, you can blame the dinosaurs on something. Yeah, sure, why not? Oh, that makes an interesting circle here. Small one here. A bubble went up my nose. Wow. Okay. how about we close the whole thing with pines? Just to emphasize even more the circle here. Who knows why there's a circle? You can make it something. Let's put a bigger one. You can make that circle into something. Could be something in the forest there. Okay. I think I want to go all the way. Yeah. Let's go all the way there. Let's go all the way. Is there music with that title? You know what? My player, the player that plays Remy in my campaign, he'd probably know. He knows by heart a lot of music. Oh, good lord. Didn't notice. It's midnight here. Okay, well, I'm just gonna refresh my reserve of tree. And apparently this is where we finish for tonight. Oh, it's rare that I feel enough in shape to keep going. But I have things to finish. I want to try and finish the fort map editing, all of it. It really needs to be put on YouTube completely. More of it that I only have, I think, one episode left to do. Oh, hold on. I'm doing this one. 4 more episodes. 4 more episodes? No. 3 more episodes. Right. That's gonna be it for now. Alright, let's save. Let's look at everything we've done tonight. It's starting to take shape. It's starting to have life. I was afraid that what I built wouldn't look right, but maybe I just changed the depth here. But other than that, no, I think it works. All right. Well, with that, I think we will finish for tonight. Export. Let's make it a JPEG. Okay, and it is map 5 episode 3, I think. All right, exported. Yay. Apparently restarting OBS worked. Alright. So, with this, it will be all for tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you to Bobicus for spending this time with me and sharing his idea of a game. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be playing that game. Yeah. So, like I was saying, good lord. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Hope you had a pleasant whatever part of the day it is, wherever you are in the world. Hope to see you next week for the continuation of this map. If you want to watch live D&D, that's on Wednesdays, 7:30 Western Coast time. If you live on the Eastern Coast and you still want to watch, 7:30 Eastern Coast time. That's on Friday. There's a rebroadcast of the Wednesday session. Yeah, and Thursdays next week for the continuation of our map. So with this, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you want to support, it's easy. You can follow, leave like, comments. We got Twitch, to YouTube, X. You can also do more if you want by making a donation, becoming a Patreon, subscribing on Twitch. But if you can't do any of those and you still want to help, or you've done all of this and you still want to help more, there is a very free thing, mostly effortless thing you can do. It helps tremendously. That's spreading the word of the channel. So thank you. See you next week. And as always, campfire music. Important to leave on campfire music. As I was saying, see you next week. And as always, stay safe and stay healthy. Good night.